Well, shalom, my name is Todd Bennett, and I'm in Jerusalem for Sukkot 2022. Today is Hoshana Rabbah. It's the 7th day of Sukkot on the Creator's calendar. The Jews have completed their observance of their Sukkot based upon the rabbinic calendar, but we still have today and tomorrow is the 8th day, Shemini Atzeret. So I thought I'd take you on another tour, and I'm standing on top of what is commonly referred to as Mount Zion, but it's actually the Western Hill. And I'm going to show you a gate. Well, I'm going to show you the vicinity of a gate that we can't actually walk through now, but it's an ancient gate. And I'll probably try to attach a photo of that gate before I post this video. Right over here, down the hill, past those graves. Again, when we were talking before about getting down to Yeshua level locations, you've got to dig quite deep. And in here, you've got to get past this grave site and over the edge of the mound. And Bargel Pixner, a couple decades ago, excavated the Essene Gate. And he used Josephus's accounts of the city of Jerusalem and measurements to actually locate that gate. And when he started digging, he found it. So I take some tours there. You have to get permission. This is a locked graveyard, and you have to get permission to get the keys and go down through there and actually get to the gate and see it. But that's where it is. Shalom. This is Todd Bennett from Jerusalem, Israel, and I'm standing here at the dig site where they have found the Essene Gate on Mount Zion. Now, a lot of times we talk about the multiple layers that we have to dig through to get to the truth, and this is a good example of it in the city of Jerusalem. Sometimes we have to dig down layers and layers, century upon century of destruction levels to get down to original layers during the time when Yeshua actually walked upon this earth. Here's a good example of it. This is Mount Zion. You can see a beautiful view behind me. Jordan and the Dead Sea are far off in the distance, and the Hinnom Valley is right below me, and it leads down to the merger between the Kidron and the Tyropoeon Valley. So this is where the Essene quarter was located in ancient days, and as we've talked about in other teachings, this is probably where Yeshua observed the Last Supper, his last Passover, where he renewed the covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. And this would have probably been the gate that his disciples walked through when he instructed them to look for the man carrying a jug of water. He was probably an Essene, because in that culture the Essenes carried the water. They most likely would have walked in the Essene quarter in this direction and followed that gentleman to the location where they observed the Last Supper in the upper room. So this is one of the many examples of digging deep, getting to the truth, and making the scriptures come alive, and that's what we're all about here. What's very interesting about it is some of the things around that gate on this hilltop, and that's what I wanted to take you to see right now. You see, basically we're just looking at this area with not much here. The Greeks actually have stewardship over this location, the Greek Orthodox Church. But as you start to go in this area, you'll see some very interesting sites for people that believe in Yeshua. Specifically, over here, there's a gated mikvah, which some believe was actually the site of the first assembly of believers in Yeshua. And I'm going to hop this wall over. Hey, there's Moni, who takes care of this site. I'm going to stop and talk to him for a second. So I'm here with my friend Moni, and he told me that this spot, which looks like a soccer field right now, was actually a Byzantine church that they excavated, and he's going to send me some photos that he has of the excavation. So buried under here is the mosaics of that church, and it's a very significant church because that is probably commemorated a location where the early believers used to meet up here. And I'm going to take you over to another site, which is actually a mikvah, I believe, or where the earliest place, Moni, was
The first Christian church.
the first church over here. The first assembly is over here. It's all locked up, but I'm going to show you some video of that. That was nice. I'm glad I saw Moni when I stopped by here, because he gave me some tiles and showed me some things from that excavation site. And I'm going to hop this wall over here. Not as young as I used to be, but I can still do it without breaking my neck. Okay, so this is a site that I used to come and visit a lot when I originally came here, because I had a friend, his name was Bob Fisher, and he told me that they had found some inscriptions down here, and that this was the site of where as the early believers used to meet. And you can actually see remnants of where there's steps down here and signs of like a mikvah that's in there. And actually I ran into Moni during a tour a few years back, and he had the keys with him then, so he let us go down in. But it's this is one of those evidences that early believers were here. So we've got this, we've got the Byzantine church over there, and again, these places, they're not proof per se, but you start to put them together as evidence.
And here, I think I replaced it more than 10 times.
Wow.
I missed you, Moni, so much. I took all those. No, I must do it. I don't know how to make it green. I do need kefir. But I heard somebody got killed or died. Sheep boys.
All right, so yeah, it's really, really old. Again, some refer to this as the first church, maybe an original assembly place of the believers in Yeshua, because it's very close to the where they say traditionally the Last Supper took place.
Do you know Holy Spirit, you love in here?
Let's see, I don't have a light. All right, let's try this again. I got my light from my phone now, another phone. And there we go, yeah. And the reason I started at that Essene gate was because when Yeshua told his disciples to look for a man carrying water and follow him, that's a real clue in and of itself, because in that culture, in that ancient culture, essentially women did all the heavy lifting. They carried the water, except for one sect of Israel, the Essenes. The Essenes in that culture, the men carried the water. So we can assume, and I think quite powerfully, that they were looking for an Essene man, and he would have walked in the Essene gate, because all of this that we see here is the Essene quarter. Okay, so it starts to add up that they followed an Essene into the gate, the Essene gate, and then there's more tradition here, which, if you follow me this way, even adds to the whole narrative and adds to the whole the possibility that all of this points to the fact that early believers used to come here and worship here apart from the temple. Not necessarily worship, that was not an accurate word. They would worship at the temple, but they would come and gather and congregate and commune here.
אז אתה לא מבין?
Okay, I'm going up the back way here. Let's see if I can get in. Oh, yeah, that's the overlook up top. Maybe I'll do that. But if I go in here, this is the traditional site of the Last Supper. This is where they usually come out. So obviously, this is not from Yeshua's time. You can see from the architecture that it's more Ottoman, and you can see even the Arabic inscriptions on the wall and on the stained glass. But it is definitely some more evidence that this was where it was at some point below us. And in a moment I'm going to take you below us to see what's there now. There you go. Hey brother, there you go. Nice song. No, I appreciate you being a witness to the people here.
It's time, man.
Yeah, it's good.
We come with the gifts we give.
That's right. Amen.
All thanks to Yeshua.
All right. Praise him. All right. Okay. So that's nice. Everybody doing their part. He's coming and lifting up the name of Yeshua here in the land during this time. We can all do something, you know. We all play our little part in this grand puzzle that Yah is the master of. So, anyways, you'll see that throughout Jerusalem usually. And it's always nice to see people being drawn here by the Spirit. Let me see if I can cut this way here. We got a lot of tour groups here, so it's kind of clogging some of the paths here. But I'm not going to trouble you with the back of everybody's heads here. All right, well, you may have noticed it's got a little darker from the last clip, and as I started to run into all these tour groups, I just thought it was going to take too long and all you were going to see was the back of people's heads. So I thought that I would circle around. I had to go meet with some people, and then came back, and I thought that I would circle back eventually and pick up the route where I left off so that I could continue this trek from the Western Hill to the Western Wall. Hey, that's not bad. Anyways, we are working our way from the Zion Gate, and we'll be going over into the Jewish quarter, and that's where the Western Wall is located, is in the Jewish quarter. And You see people have taken down their sukkahs, and you'll see the palm branches all over the place. Much quieter. It's a whole different feel usually to get here. You know, in the evening time, it's darker. Typically, you know, tourist groups, they get up early, they have their breakfast in their hotel, and then usually they'll get on a bus and spend the whole day touring, but they try to plan to get back before dinner time. So then they'll eat dinner at their hotel. So you don't see too many tourists. I guess I'll just go down this way because I haven't walked this way with my camera before. So yeah, so mainly the tour groups are back to their hotels by the evening time, and things tend to quiet down a little bit more. All right, we are in the Jewish quarter, and you'll see a lot of jewelry. Usually the gifts here now are different. They're more Judaica oriented, and you know, jewelry, religious gifts, things of that type. Not so much the things that you see up the King David Road or in the typical tourist areas. Okay, so obviously the Jews just finished their Sukkot and Shemini Atzeret, but you know, family comes in from all over the world to visit other family, and so it doesn't mean they're going to leave right away. So you'll still see some people around after the feast, although they're taking things down. This is probably, you know, the most central square for community things in the Jewish quarter. All right, and this is one of the main thoroughfares where people come to and from the wall, so this can get pretty busy at times. On a feast day, it's just like jam-packed. Oh, you see, now I haven't been here this entire trip. And they got a rebar. Those rebars are pretty nice. They make healthy drinks with, I never would have thought I'd like a tahini smoothie, but they have a tahini with goat's milk and figs and dates and walnuts. It's really good. Didn't know they had one here. Usually they have one on Jaffa Road, and there's one at First Station. Okay, now you could go down those stairs over there to the right to get down to the wall. But I'm going to try to take us along this way, see if we can't get a little overlook first, and we'll go through some small streets here. down here they used to have the Temple Institute, and then they got bigger and they moved to where the old Mariah bookstore was. But you know, people really had to be careful with this whole idea of rebuilding the third temple. I know a lot of Christians get excited about it because they think that it's going to fit into their end times prophecy, because they interpret Daniel in such a way that they believe that the Antichrist, there has to be sacrifices, and then the Antichrist has to stop the sacrifices, and but that's all a misunderstanding of Daniel and a misinterpretation of Daniel. So I strongly encourage Christians not to participate in the rebuilding of the third temple, because essentially Yeshua condemned it, he judged it, and he made it very clear that he didn't approve of it. And so until he comes and restores any type of temple system, I strongly encourage people to avoid any attempt by the Pharisees, because essentially they would like to just blot him out and pretend he never came. And if they could just pick up where they left off prior to 70 CE, I think they'd be more than happy to do that. But Christians should not be, or anybody that believes in Yeshua should not be involved in that. Okay, so I'm going to go to the spot where it's got a pretty good overlook of the wall, and I'll let you take a look at that. And I'm not going to talk a lot so I don't disturb people here. There you see the temple, the Dome of the Rock to the left, and the western wall down there, obviously. And then to the right is the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Of course, up above the wall in the background is Mount of Olives, and again you can see that tall lit obelisk type steeple structure is the one of at the Church of the Ascension. It's one of the places where they believe that, you know, tradition says that Yeshua ascended. All right, now I'm going to walk down to the wall, and you got to go through security to get there, so I'm not going to be able to keep filming once I get there, but you'll just get an idea of what it takes to get down there. Oh, there's the Aviv road, which I always thought was pretty cool to go up and down and pass over. All right. Yeah, so there's King David Road, which we went up. I went up in a different video, but that's usually really busy with tourists, so things have really quieted down. Okay, welcome to the Western Wall. Okay, I'm going to turn it off and go through security. Okay, made it through security, no problems there, and this is the Western Wall complex. Sometimes when you get real close, you hear people say, "Oh, no photo, no photo," but we'll see. You know, you can come here any time of the day, and there will be people here. It's pretty busy right now. Even 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, you can come here, and there will be people praying. Not as many, obviously, but there's usually always a presence here. So this is the real focal point for the Jewish quarter, and obviously the center of their religious life, because they don't have a temple any longer, but they do have a synagogue that goes down to the left there by the wall. You can see it there with the arches, so that's probably the closest they've got at this point. All right. Well, that was a big sukkah right there. It's a good vantage point to see everything that's going on. Okay. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that. From the Western Hill to the Western Wall. This is Todd Bennett in Jerusalem, Israel, during Sukkot 2022. Hag Sameach.